This is video lesson number 2 from lesson 3 from a fresh approach for the beginning percussion class book 1. So in this video lesson, what we're going to cover is the second half of this lesson on page number 34. It's called Snare Lesson 3B. This is really important because I'm going to teach you a new technique called the multiple bounce stroke. So we learn, and we've been practicing on our rebound stroke. A rebound stroke is when you throw the stick to the head and it rebounds back up. So it is from the high position back up to the up position. Now a bounce stroke is when we push the stick into the head and we use a little bit of pressure in our fulcrum. We grab the stick just a little bit tighter right here in our fulcrum to make the stick bounce. Okay? So before we get into the specifics of how to do this, the multiple bounce becomes, at the end, a multiple bounce roll. Sometimes we call this a buzz roll, and you've heard this before. So whenever you hear kind of sounds like a bee buzzing, we call that a buzz roll, and it's very important as part of our vocabulary. So this is actually going to become a new rudiment down the road called the multiple bounce roll or buzz roll. Right now we just need to teach you how to play good buzzes. So we're going to only do this with one hand. So I want you to get your right, you can put your left stick in your back pocket, but we only need your right hand for a second. All right, so when we play a rebound stroke, we're throwing the stick at the head and we're just allowing it to jump back up. When we play a multiple bounce, we're pressing the stick into the head using a little bit of fulcrum pressure right here. So as I push the stick into the head, it starts bouncing. But what I need to do is relax the hand as it bounces so I can get a lot of multiple bounces. So before we even try, I start giving you more information. I just want you to try that with your right hand. Take your stick, start in the up position, and throw it at the head. Okay, try it again. Ready, go. Now what you're going to notice as you do this a bunch is that if you have too much pressure in your fulcrum, you're not going to get multiple bounces, you're going to get a zut. So that's so much pressure, I'm pushing so hard into the head that it just stops the stick from bouncing. Okay? So we got to adjust our fulcrum pressure. This becomes incredibly important to how we play the drums, because as we're playing different rudiments and different stuff on the drum set or keyboard, we're always adjusting the pressure in our fulcrum so that we're getting the right style of strokes. So do that a few more times. If you're getting a zut instead of multiple bounces, you're using too much fulcrum pressure. Opposite of that is using too little fulcrum pressure. Eventually it'll start bouncing, but if I don't have any pressure in my fulcrum, guess what happens? It jumps back up, because that's what the stick wants to do. It wants to rebound. What we want to do is start putting a little bit more and a little bit more pressure on that fulcrum until it can start bouncing. Now let me give you one other warning. So we have too much fulcrum pressure, too little fulcrum pressure. The other problem that most young players have is either that they take their fingers off the stick, which you can do that just to get that fulcrum pressure right, or they squeeze the stick with the back fingers. So if I muffle the stick with the back fingers, it stops the bounce of the stick. So we always want that play in here. So sometimes, just as starting, I have my students take their fingers off the stick completely to learn that fulcrum pressure that they need to make that multiple bounce happen. And then after they can get that happening, I have them wrap their fingers back around. But do not squeeze. Do not touch the stick with your back fingers when you're playing your multiple bounce. All right, let's try your right hand again. See how long you can make your bounces. See how I'm relaxing my fulcrum pressure as I bounce. That makes that bounce longer and longer. Now, if you're a right-handed player, guess what? You're going to be able to play it better with your right hand than your left hand. So this on your left hand, start with your fingers off the stick. And then gradually wrap the fingers back around the stick. Now, all of this goes without saying that you need a good fulcrum. If you don't have a good fulcrum on your stick, if you're playing here, it's going to be really hard. I mean, you don't want your thumb on top of the stick either, because that's not going to work. Thumb has to be in the right place with your fulcrum. All right, now I'm not going to lie. This has taken, depending on the percussionist that I'm teaching or the class that I'm teaching, it might take a week for you to get good right-handed bounces and good left-handed bounces. Hear how long those bounces are? That's what you need to be working for. So at this point in the video, you can just stop the video and practice your multiple bounces. You're probably going to have to practice your left-handed bounce twice as much as your right-handed bounce, because that's just kind of the nature of the game. Your left hand will take you a long time to develop because it's just not used to, unless you're left-handed, of course. With your right hand, you grew up, you've been writing, so gripping a pen, gripping your fork, gripping all kinds of baseball or whatever you've been gripping. So you're used to using your right hand and adjusting your fulcrum pressure. Okay, when you're writing with a pencil, you don't need a really tough grip. But if you're hitting a baseball bat, you need a hard grip to make sure that it's really firm. All right, same thing. So with a drumstick, getting used to that fulcrum pressure, probably going to be easier on your right than your left. So do me a favor, don't try to push your way through this. Stop the video, work on your multiple bounces, especially your left hand. All right, now if you're being honest with yourself and you stop the video and you worked on your multiple bounces on one hand at a time, and you can swear, don't swear out loud, but you can swear to me, you can promise to me that your left hand bounces sound as good as your right hand, then you're ready to move on. On this line right here, what we're doing is we're working on alternating our multiple bounces. We're still working on really long multiple bounces, but as we alternate, we can listen to how good one is versus the next one. So in the first two measures, notice I just have half note multiple bounces. Now what I'm trying to do is make that bounce last for the entire half note. That's why I put that arrow under there. So I don't want any space between the bounces. So not this. But this. So the beginning of your stroke, or the end of one bounce, will bleed into the beginning of the next stroke. All right, let's try the first two measures. I'm going to go kind of slow. Let's go at 60 beats per minute. So I'm thinking half note, but I'm sustaining the half notes with my bounces. Just the first two measures. 1, 2, ready, and go. Half note, half note, half note, half note. So it's really hard, I don't even know if you can hear it, to get that bounce to sustain at this slow of a tempo. And the biggest deal is to leave the stick on the head while the next one plays. Then when you get to measure 3 and 4, you're just playing 2 straight notes. 1, 2, half note. 1, 2, half note. And really the only reason why this is hard is because now we have rebound strokes. So you have one type of stroke and then multiple bounces, which is a different type of stroke. So we have to do something different with our hands. Let's play measures 2 and 3. I'm going to speed that tempo up just a little bit. 60 is pretty slow. 1, 2, ready and go. 1, 2, half note. 1, 2, half note. Okay, so 1, 2, half note is sustain. 1, 2, no break in sound. All right, so you might want to practice that a bunch until you can kind of get this. Too relaxed on my fulcrum. All right, so you can kind of get used to that amount of pressure that you need in your fulcrum. I absolutely did not do that on purpose. I swear to God. All right, let's play the whole line. So in our first 2 measures, just multiple bounces, and then in measures 3 and 4, we add our taps. Here we go. And 1, 2, set and go. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Make it sustain. Tap, tap, buzz, tap, tap, buzz. Repeat it. Buzz, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, sustain, 1, 2, buzz, and stop. Okay. Before you go on to the music reading lines, I really encourage you to work on that exercise. Work on it at 70 beats per minute, 80 beats per minute. Try to get those really, really long sustains on your multiple bounces. The music reading is basically the same stuff that we've been doing with quarter notes and half notes, but this time I'm adding buzzes to my half notes, okay, to get you to realize that a half note sustains for 2 counts, and then also to get you to really focus on making really long multiple bounces. So work on that exercise before you move on to the music reading exercises. Okay, music reading. All we're doing here is what we did in the previous video lesson with the first half of this lesson, where we're playing quarter note, half note, quarter note, half note, playing half notes. But this time I added a Z to the stem of your half notes, so that means that you're going to bounce that, okay? So on each one of the half notes, it's going to be a long sustained bounce on one hand. So look at the first 2 measures of line number 1. All we're doing here is what we did on our previous exercise. 1, 2, buzz, 1, 2, buzz. Okay, we've already done that. I'm going to speed the tempo up to 80. Play just the first 2 measures of this line. 1, 2, and 1 and 2 and ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, now I didn't write the big long arrow underneath this, but I do want you to sustain that buzz all the way to the beginning of the next stroke. Measures 3 and 4, I have a measure of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then my last measure, buzz 3. Now notice I did write in the sticking here. It's not that you really need the sticking, okay, as long as you're honest with your alternating, but I've found that sometimes students, when they're left to their own devices, will only play multiple bounces on the hands that they're good at, which means that if they're right-handed, they're only going to play right-handed bounces. This forces you to play left-handed bounces. So follow the sticking. Let's try this whole line. 1, 2, and 1 and 2 and ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, rest. 4, 1, 3, rest. All right, did your buzz go buzz 3? I want that buzz And you can almost just leave it on the pad while you strike the next note. Let's do that line one more time. See how well you can get those bounces to last for the whole half note. And 1, 2, set and go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, rest. 4. 1, 2, 3. So your success in this line is not necessarily that you can play it without making a mistake. The success is, of course, that, but also that your sustain of your multiple bounces, especially on your left hand, goes all the way to the next downbeat. So you really have to work on adjusting that fulcrum pressure so it's not too much to get a zut or too little to have too much space on those first two notes. Move on to the next line. Ooh, a new time signature. 5/4 time. Now remember what I said before, time signatures don't matter. All I'm doing is taking the same quarter notes and half notes. I'm just drawing a bar in a different place. So how many beats in a measure in 5/4 time? 5. So when we play our first measure, 1, 2, 3, buzz, the half note gets count 4, 5. Our bar line means I start over on the second measure with count 1. So measure 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all I'm doing is instead of counting to 5 or 4, I'm counting to 5. So let's play the first two measures. I'll go really slow. First two measures, remember your half note buzzes. Remember to follow the sticking. I'm just alternating. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my buzzes, buzz, 3, 4, 5. It's pretty simple because if I just, in my head, take out that bar line, all I'm doing is reading quarter notes and half notes. Let's try it again. First two bars. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, half note, 3, 4, 5. Half note, half note. Now it's really important that you know that a half note sustains for 2 counts. Now I'm on measure 3. I have 1 rest, half note. What's the last stroke on? What count is that on? 1, 2, half note, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then my last measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, kind of tricky, but take away the bar line in your head and just count quarter notes, quarter rest, and half notes. Let's play measures 3 and 4. Very slow. Starting on my right hand. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 rest, half note, rest. So I didn't even count the numbers. All I did was counting my quarter notes and my half notes and my rest. Let's try it again. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, half note, 5. 1, half note, 4, 5. So I can count out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can do that, or I can just think of my half notes, half rest, or quarter notes, quarter rest, all the way through the line. Let's play this whole line. Ready? And 2, and 1, and 2, and ready, go. 1, 2, 3, half note, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, half note, 5. 1, half note, 4, 5. All right? So you can write in the counting, okay? Or you can just really think about where your half notes and and buzzes are and individual quarter notes are. Okay, this is very, very easy once you get used to playing buzzes without thinking about it. Another thing I would recommend that you do is on your daily warm-up is kind of go through the appendix lines, even though they're really super simple. Going through the appendix line but buzzing all the half notes. That'll give you some extra experience and extra practice with your buzz strokes. All right, Let's go on to our last line. Two-line trickery. So I say two-line trickery because I'm always trying to throw in rest in different combinations of half notes and quarter notes to mess you up in your counting. Okay? Now notice that this line here is 2 lines long. And how do I know that it's 2 lines long? Because I get to the end of the first line and I do not have a double bar. A double bar means it's the end of that line or that song, okay? This one does not have a double bar, so I go on to the next line. Not really that hard, it's just that when you get to the end of the line, your eyes have to move forward to the beginning of the next line. That's pretty simple. Let's do this a couple of measures at a time. In the top line, I'm going to do measure 1 and 2. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the same measure twice, but I'm using a different sticking. I'm alternating my sticking so the buzzes happen on different hands. Okay, let's try that first 2 bars of the top line. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. All right, 2, 4. So I'm thinking of that sustain of the half note. Let's do that one more time. 1 and 2 and ready, go. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. So every time that you have a quarter note, are you still playing a nice rebound stroke? Make sure that you're not bouncing your quarter notes. All right? Measures 3 and 4 of the top line. So I have a rest 2, rest 4, and then half note, half note. So it's pretty simple. You just have to make sure that you rest on one in that third measure. Okay, let's try measures 3 and 4 of the top line. 2, ready, go, rest. 2, rest. 4, half note, half note. All right, with nice long bounces. Neglected to say all the way through all this stuff, tap your foot. All right, let's try that again. Tap your foot. Here we go. 2, and just measure 3 and 4. 1 and 2, and ready, go. Foot, foot. Half note, half note. Okay, so half note, I get 2 foot taps. All right, now we're ready to play the entire top line. This one doesn't have any real trickery except for measure 3, remembering that you rest on count 1. All right, pretty simple line, very top line only, and then we'll stop. 1 and 2 and ready, go. 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. Rest, 2, rest, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what's tricky about it is when you play it with the keyboard part. The keyboard part all of a sudden has a different, sometimes they play on your rest. So this is the tough part about being a percussionist, is that no matter what everybody else is playing, you have to concentrate and play your part correctly. All right, let's play that line one more time. I think you got it. Just so we can make sure that we're tapping our foot all the way through. And 1 and 2 and ready, go. 1, half note, 4. 1, half note, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half note, stop. Now when I stopped, I'm at the beginning of my second line. My second line starts with a half rest. So half rest gets 2 counts, a quarter rest is count 3, I play on beat 4. So I have to look ahead when I'm playing my buzzes on the top of the first line and rest 2, 3, 4. This sometimes is really helpful to take your pencil and write in 4 underneath that quarter note, just in case you get mixed up by moving to the next line. We can always know what count we play on. In measure 2 of the bottom line, I switch the rest. I have a quarter rest and a half rest. So quarter rest gets 1, half rest gets 2, that's 3 counts, and then I'll play on count 4. So play the first 2 measures of the bottom line. And 1, 2, set, and go. Half, rest, rest. Rest, half, rest. Okay, so if I say half, rest, rest, and rest, half, rest, it's the same thing. All right, and then my last 2 measures. Quarter, quarter, half note, rest 4. So again, after my bounce, rest 4. Let's play the last 2 measures of the bottom line. And 1 and 2 and ready, go. 1, 2, half note, rest 4. So what do I do on my rest? Play my foot. Okay? So if you're tapping your foot, anytime you have a rest, just kind of think of it as being that you're playing something. Okay? If I had a drum set, I would just be playing my foot on every beat. All right? Now let's try that whole second line together. Stop without stopping between the first 2 measures and the last 2 measures. All right? Just the bottom line. 1 and 2 and ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, rest 4. I used to do that when I was teaching a class all the time. I would pretend I was going to hit the drum and just see how many percussionists were not paying attention and just hit the drum without even thinking. Okay? Make sure that you're paying attention and that you're counting all the way through the line. All right, let's try the entire thing. All the way from the top line. When you get to the end of the top line, go to the beginning of the next line without stopping. Just remember to look ahead to see the rest. Here we go. 1 and 2 and ready, go. 1, half note, 4. 1, half note, 4. Rest, 2. Rest, 4. Half note, half, rest, rest, 4. Rest, half, rest, 4. 1, 2, half note, rest, 4. All right, super simple when I'm playing along with my beat indicators. I got a little everywhere. It kind of keeps you focused on where you're at in the measure. Okay, if I take those away, which I'll do this time, and I go at a faster tempo, let's see how you do. Perfect without making a mistake. And 1 and 2 and ready, go. 1, half note, 4. 1, half note, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half note. Look ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, half note, rest, 4. Okay, so you have to be very confident in your part. You have to obviously be able to play your part correctly. When you put it with another player or with an entire ensemble of players, somebody playing something different might mess you up. And all that does is it's taking your concentration away from you playing your part correctly. So part of the fun of playing in percussion is that very rarely will multiple players play the same part. Okay? You might have a couple of keyboard players or a couple of snare drummers, but if you're playing timpani, you're the only person. If you're playing bass drum, you're the only person. So being able to concentrate on your part while all this other stuff is going on is what's kind of fun about playing percussion, because you are kind of the soloist in the ensemble. So again, work on the PadLab. Go back to all of the music reading lines in PadLab, taking it very slowly, line by line. You can slow that tempo down, okay? You can isolate no accompaniment part, and you can just hear the snare drum part, no keyboard part, and work on your line, then gradually speed it up until you can play each line perfectly, then add back in the keyboard, add back in the accompaniment. Then it gets fun because you've mastered this entire lesson. So very, very important that you spend time those really long half note buzzes. I've had students that will blow through this lesson and think it's very simple because they can get the reading stuff, but they haven't mastered their buzzes, but they keep going. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Master it. Master every single thing, because in the next lesson we're just going to add to your techniques. We're going to make your buzzes last for shorter amounts of time, and then we're going to add all kinds of other techniques to it. So daily warm-up, working on all your 8-4-2-1, single paradiddle, double paradiddle, paradiddle diddle, and then getting all of your buzzes and your reading lines. Once you have this lesson mastered, and I mean really mastered, then you're ready to go on to lesson number 4.